What if someone could disappear in less than 10 minutes, on a lonely road, without leaving behind a single trace? No confirmed sightings. No phone calls. No body. No clear suspect. One young woman crashed her car on a cold February evening, spoke briefly to a passing witness, and by the time police arrived, she was gone. More than 2 decades later, investigators, journalists, and thousands of amateur detectives are still asking the same question. What happened to Maura Murray? This is one of America's most baffling missing person cases, a mystery filled with strange decisions, unanswered questions, and theories that range from tragic accident to calculated disappearance. Maura Murray was born on May 4, 1982, in Hanson, Massachusetts. Friends described her as intelligent, athletic, and determined. She excelled in track and field during high school and later attended the prestigious United States Military Academy at West Point. But life wasn't always smooth. Although gifted academically, Maura struggled with personal pressures. After leaving West Point, she transferred to the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where she studied nursing. She hoped to build a stable future caring for others. By early 2004, she was 21 years old, living on campus, balancing demanding classes, and maintaining a long-distance relationship with her boyfriend, Army Lieutenant Bill Roche. To those around her, Maura appeared like many hardworking college students. Yet beneath the surface, several troubling events unfolded during the days leading to her disappearance. On Thursday, February 5, 2004, Maura became visibly upset while working her campus security job. A supervisor later recalled that she appeared almost catatonic, staring blankly and repeatedly saying, "My sister." When asked what was wrong, Maura simply replied, "My sister." Eventually, she was escorted back to her dorm room. Later it emerged that Maura had spoken with her older sister Kathleen, who was dealing with serious personal struggles. Whether that phone call alone caused Maura's emotional breakdown remains uncertain. 2 days later, on Saturday night, another unexpected event occurred. Maura borrowed her father's Toyota Corolla while he was visiting Amherst. After attending a party, she crashed the vehicle into a roadside guardrail around 3:30 in the morning. Fortunately, she wasn't seriously injured. Police responded, but no criminal charges were filed. Her father later obtained a replacement vehicle and reportedly planned to help Maura shop for another car. The accident seemed like an isolated mistake. But just 48 hours later, Maura would vanish forever. On Monday morning, Maura went about her day almost normally. Then she made a series of decisions that have puzzled investigators ever since. She emailed several professors, claiming there had been a death in her family and that she would be away for about a week. Investigators later confirmed this wasn't true. No family member had died. She also emailed her employer, saying she would be absent. Then she searched online for driving directions to northern New Hampshire and Vermont. She contacted hotels and condominium rental offices near the White Mountains. No reservation was ever confirmed. Before leaving campus, Maura withdrew nearly all the money from her bank account, about $280. She also purchased alcohol from a nearby liquor store. Security footage captured her making the purchase. It would become one of the last confirmed images ever taken of her. She packed clothing, schoolbooks, toiletries, and accident report forms from her previous car crash. Then she climbed into her black 1996 Saturn and drove north. No one knows exactly why. Around 7:27 p.m., residents living along Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire, heard a loud crash. Maura's Saturn had struck a snowbank near a sharp curve known locally as Weathered Barn Corner. The impact wasn't severe enough to cause fatal injuries. The car remained upright. The engine was damaged, but witnesses believed Maura appeared conscious. One of the first people to notice the accident was local school bus driver Butch Atwood. He stopped to help. According to his account, Maura was standing beside the vehicle. She declined assistance. She reportedly told him she had already called roadside assistance. But Atwood knew there was almost no cell phone service in that area. Something about the interaction struck him as odd. Still, respecting her wishes, he drove the short distance home and called 911. That call would become one of the final confirmed interactions anyone had with Maura Murray. Police dispatch received the emergency call. Officer Cecil Smith was sent to the scene. The drive took only a few minutes. But when he arrived, Maura was gone. The Saturn sat abandoned. Its hazard lights had stopped flashing. No driver. No footprints leading clearly away from the roadway. No obvious signs of violence. No indication where she had gone. Inside the vehicle, investigators discovered wine stains, alcohol containers, school materials, and personal belongings. Some items appeared neatly packed. Others seemed hastily left behind. Nothing clearly explained why Maura disappeared within such a short window. The estimated gap between Butch Atwood leaving the scene and Officer Smith arriving was only about 7 to 10 minutes. Somehow, during that incredibly brief period, Maura vanished. Police immediately searched the surrounding area. The temperature was below freezing. Snow covered the landscape. Tracking dogs were brought in. One bloodhound reportedly followed Maura's scent for a short distance east along the roadway before abruptly losing it. Some investigators interpreted this to mean she may have entered another vehicle. Others questioned the reliability of the scent evidence because the gloves used for tracking may not have belonged exclusively to Maura. Helicopters searched from above. Volunteers walked through dense forests. Nearby rivers, ponds, abandoned buildings, and wooded hillsides were examined. Nothing. Weeks turned into months. Months became years. Still no sign of Maura Murray. As the initial search produced no answers, investigators began examining Maura's personal life. Could she have been running away? Friends described her as responsible but acknowledged she had recently experienced stress. There were concerns involving academics. The recent car accident. Family issues. Relationship pressures. Some investigators wondered whether she simply wanted a short escape. But if that were true, why leave everything behind? Her bank accounts remained untouched. Her social security number showed no signs of future activity. No verified employment. No passport usage. No confirmed sightings. If Maura planned to start over, she managed to disappear more completely than almost anyone in modern history. One of the most common explanations is that Maura fled into the snowy woods after the crash to avoid police. She may have feared another encounter with law enforcement because of the alcohol in her vehicle or previous incidents. Disoriented and exposed to freezing temperatures, she could have succumbed to hypothermia. Supporters of this theory argue that winter conditions can quickly become deadly. Victims suffering hypothermia sometimes behave irrationally, removing clothing or wandering into dense terrain before collapsing. Yet critics point to one major problem. Extensive searches using dogs, helicopters, trained teams, and repeated ground searches failed to locate any remains. Could searchers really have missed her? Some experts say yes. Others remain skeptical. Another possibility is that Maura voluntarily entered a passing vehicle. Without cell service, stranded on a dark rural highway, accepting help from a stranger might have seemed like her best option. If the driver had innocent intentions, why has no one ever come forward? If the driver had criminal intentions, Maura may have become the victim of an opportunistic predator. This theory explains why search dogs reportedly lost her scent near the roadway. But investigators have never identified a confirmed suspect connected to such a scenario. Over the years, numerous individuals have attracted public attention. Some local residents with criminal histories were examined. Various tips suggested possible kidnappings or murders. Private investigators explored abandoned properties and interviewed witnesses. Several searches targeted locations based on anonymous information. Each raised hopes. Each ended without conclusive evidence. Despite decades of speculation, investigators have never announced sufficient evidence to charge anyone with harming Maura Murray. Perhaps the most controversial theory is that Maura intentionally vanished. Her emails about a non-existent family death. Her cash withdrawal. The directions to vacation areas. Packing clothing. Leaving campus unexpectedly. Some believe these actions show careful planning. Could she have wanted to escape her current life? Family members strongly reject this possibility. They argue Maura loved her family and had long-term plans. There has never been credible evidence that she successfully established a new identity. Living completely undetected for decades would require extraordinary preparation. Investigators have found none. The case refused to fade. Television documentaries revisited the mystery. Podcasts introduced millions of new listeners to Maura's story. Independent researchers uncovered forgotten interviews and inconsistencies. In 2019, investigators conducted another search of a New Hampshire home after receiving new information. Excitement spread quickly. Many believed the breakthrough had finally arrived. But once again, no definitive evidence explaining Maura's disappearance was found. Her family has continued working tirelessly with investigators, hoping that one overlooked clue may finally unlock the truth. For Maura's father, Fred Murray, the search became his life's mission. Year after year, he returned to New Hampshire. He walked the roads. Spoke with volunteers. Appealed to the public. Followed every possible lead. Her siblings also continued advocating for answers. They have repeatedly emphasized that they simply want to know what happened. Whether the truth is tragic or unexpected, uncertainty has become its own form of heartbreak. Thousands of missing person cases occur every year. Yet Maura Murray's disappearance continues to fascinate investigators because almost every known fact creates another question. Why did she suddenly leave campus? Why invent a death in the family? Why choose that particular destination? What happened during the 7 to 10 minute window before police arrived? Did she walk into the woods? Accept a ride? Meet someone intentionally? Or did something happen that investigators have never imagined? Each answer seems possible. Each also leaves important pieces unexplained. More than 20 years have passed since that freezing February night. The road where Maura's Saturn crashed has become one of the most famous missing person locations in America. Visitors still stop. Flowers occasionally appear near the crash site. Online communities continue analyzing every witness statement, every timeline, and every newly released document. Yet the central mystery remains exactly where it began. A young nursing student drove north. Her car crashed. She spoke with a witness. Police arrived minutes later. She was gone. No confirmed trace of Maura Murray has ever been found. Until new evidence emerges, her disappearance remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern true crime. Perhaps someone still remembers seeing a vehicle that night. Perhaps someone has kept a secret for decades. Or perhaps the answer has been hidden in plain sight all along, waiting for the one clue investigators have yet to uncover. Somewhere beyond that lonely stretch of road lies the truth. The question is whether it will ever be found.